Hi, 1 Hour Smart Home here, and today we're going to show you how to install a Wyze thermostat without a common wire. So even if you don't have a common wire, you're going to be able to install this in most cases. So the Wyze thermostat does come with a common wire adapter like this. Now I tried this out and it didn't work for me, and I tried it on a couple different HVAC systems. So I don't know if I've got a bad one or what, but this method is going to allow you to install the Wyze thermostat even if the common wire adapter doesn't work. And how we achieve that is that we actually rewire one of the wires in the system to be a C wire instead of a fan wire. So we're going to show you how to do that so that you're going to be able to install your Wyze thermostat if you don't have a common wire. Now, if you do have a common wire that is available behind your thermostat, we've got another video that shows you how to do that. So go ahead and check out the links in the description below. So in order to get started installing this, what I like to do is turn my thermostat on to either heat or cool so that it's running and I can hear the fan running. So we've already done that. Now that we've got that going, all we need to do is go down to the HVAC system, turn it off either at the circuit breaker, or typically there's a switch on the side of your HVAC system that will control the power to it. So go ahead and look for that and turn it off at either location. And why I turn it on so it's running is that when you go down there and turn it off at the circuit breaker or at the light switch, you're going to hear the fan stop and know that you've cut off the power. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so we've shut off the power at the light switch and or the circuit breaker for our HVAC system, so now it's no longer powered. Now what we need to do is remove the existing thermostat. So in order to do this, what we're going to do is just inspect the device. Typically there's a tab on the bottom or the sides that you may need to push in so that you can tilt this off or pull it forwards and off. So right there we were able to pull it forwards and we were able to get our existing thermostat off. Now, before you do anything else here, what I want you to do is go ahead, pause, take a moment, and take a picture of your existing wiring, because this is going to make it much easier for you to be able to install the Wyze thermostat. So take a moment, take a picture of your wiring, and then we're going to go through explaining what each one of these wires does. All right, so now that you've taken a picture, you're ready to go ahead and start removing these wires. Now, there are some little tabs in the Wyze thermostat booklet that you can use to label these, but if you got that picture, you should be able to refer back to that. So what we've got here is the RC wire or R wire. That's our power wire. Sometimes there's a jumper between those, but you don't really need to worry about the jumper because you're not going to be using the jumper in your future thermostat configuration with Wyze. But what we're going to do is just go ahead and remove that. That provides the power. The G wire is the fan wire. So that allows you to have independent control of your fan on your HVAC system. Most newer HVAC systems, let's say built after 1980 or so, and even some that are older than that, will automatically turn the fan on whenever you have a call for heating or a call for cooling with your thermostat. So the fan will automatically turn on. What the G wire allows you to do is control the fan separately of your heating or cooling, so that if you just want to circulate air on a mild day, you can do so with the G wire and the fan. Now that's what we're going to focus in on. If you take your G wire and instead of having independent fan control, you move it over to the C terminal here at the thermostat and the C terminal down at the HVAC system, you can use that G wire as a common wire and your HVAC system is going to work. Now, not everybody feels the need to circulate air independently of their HVAC system. So if you don't mind losing independent control of your fan system, your HVAC system is going to work perfectly fine. The fan's going to turn on and turn off whenever you've got heating or cooling, just like it normally does, and most people use their HVAC system. So we're going to take that G wire, move it over to the C terminal on the Wyze thermostat, and that's how we're going to install this without a common wire. We're going to repurpose that fan wire because we don't need it for our HVAC system to operate properly in most cases. Now, the next thing we've got is our Y wire. That's the call for air conditioning or the air conditioning wire. Now, the last wire we've got over here is our W wire. That is our call for heat wire or heating wire. So whenever there's a signal going to this one, what it's going to do is just turn on your furnace, and if you've got a gas-fired furnace, it's going to start blowing hot air there and turn on the burners. So this is a very typical setup. This is a 4-wire system. I'd say a lot of homes in the Midwest and actually throughout the country have a system like this where you have a gas-fired furnace and you've got an air conditioner outside. So that's what we've got in this system. So let's go ahead, now that we've got our picture, and we're gonna go ahead and remove all of these wires from the existing thermostat. All right, we've got all of our wires removed, so now we just need to remove the thermostat base plate from the wall, so we're gonna go ahead and do that now. All right, now that we've got the thermostat removed, we can kind of see some of the wiring in the wall. So in our case, we can look through here and maybe identify some extra wires. Now, we've got an extra blue wire that's connected to the same bundle of these wires. So we could actually use this as a common wire because this goes down to our HVAC system, but we would still need to connect that to the C terminal down in the HVAC system. Now, not all of you are gonna have a common wire in there already. Most of you are just gonna have the 4 wires. So I'm not gonna show you what you need to do for this unless you have one of these, and then you can just skip ahead. We show you how to connect it in the HVAC system. So go ahead and take a look at that. But we're gonna keep going as if we just had 4 wires in here. So now that we've got the 4 wires, all we're gonna do is take our Wyze Thermostat base plate, and we're just gonna go ahead and install it here and get it into position, and then go ahead and just secure it to the wall. So get it where I want it, and then I'm just gonna take the screw and I'm gonna screw it into the wall to secure the base plate. Okay, now that I've got the base plate secured, you can see that we've got different terminal labels on each one of these. So we've got RC, Y1, Y2, OB, G, C, RH, W1, W2, and star. Now the first wire I'm going to go ahead and connect is going to be my R wire. That's the power wire. So if you have a system like ours where our R wire was on the R terminal or RC terminal, we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect it to the RC terminal here at the top. That's the power terminal. So if you have only one R wire, you always want to go ahead and connect it to the RC terminal. This RH terminal is only for if you have a dual fuel system where you have 2 separate power supplies powering up your HVAC system. We do not have that, and most people won't have that condition. But if you had both an RC wire and an RH wire, you would want to connect the wire that was on RC to the RC terminal, and you would want to connect the terminal that was on RH originally to the RH terminal. But if you have just one red wire that was connected to an RC terminal or an RH terminal or an R terminal, they kind of all mean the same thing, which is power in a system that only has one power source. So you want to connect it to the RC terminal here at the top because this is the main power terminal when you don't have a dual fuel system. So in your existing thermostat setup, if you didn't have 2 wires that were labeled R or RC or RC and RH, it means that you need to connect this one to the RC terminal. Now we've got our other wires here. We've got this G wire, or formerly G wire. What we're going to do is go ahead and connect it to the C terminal on the actual thermostat. This is that wire that we're repurposing. So we're going to take our G wire, connect it to the common wire terminal. And once we get this wired up here, we're going to go down to the HVAC system and we're going to rewire that G wire onto the C terminal down in the HVAC system. Now we've got our W wire. We're going to go ahead and connect that to W1. And the reason we connect it to W1 instead of W2 is because W1 and W2, the 2 is if you have dual stage heating or dual stage cooling. So the W is the heat terminals. We only have single stage heating. If we had dual stage heating, W1 and W2, we would then connect both of those. But most cases, you're just gonna have one W1 terminal. So we're gonna put that wire there because that's what we had, just one W wire. Now we've got our last wire here. This is our Y terminal, and up here we've got Y1 and Y2, and if you only have one wire, you're going to connect it to the Y1 terminal just like we've got here, and that Y2 terminal is if you have dual stage cooling. So we're all set there. We've got our wires wired up here. Now we're going to go down to the HVAC system and we're going to go ahead and wire up that G wire to the C terminal down there. Now we're down at the HVAC system. We want to confirm once again that this is off, and it is. So what we're going to do is take the cover off. Typically you're going to take the bottom cover off, and that's going to slide off like so. And what that allows us to do is access the control panel, which is down in the HVAC system. So this is what we're looking for here. And we've got a couple different wires here, and we want to identify the right wires that we're going to change around. So what we've got are 2 wires here, 2 wires here, and then we have our bundle of 4 wires here. And this is the one that we need to identify. These are the wires that are going to the thermostat. Now you can see on this bundle of wire, we actually have an additional wire right here, this blue wire. So we could just connect that to the common terminal, which is right here. And then we could go ahead and connect that to the common terminal up at the thermostat, and we would now have a common wire. However, most people won't have an additional common wire like this wired up. So what you can do instead of using a traditional common wire is to take your G wire, which is your fan wire, and you can use that as the common wire. So all you're going to do is take your G wire here, move it over to the common terminal, and that's going to act like a common wire for the Wyze thermostat. Now, the only downside to that is that you will no longer have independent fan control with your HVAC system. So the G wire is the fan wire or fan control wire. So if you leave the G wire here and you did have a common wire, you'd be able to turn on heating, cooling, or your fan independently of your heating or cooling. So if you just wanted to circulate air without heating or cooling it, you could do that if you had the G wire connected. However, for the Wyze thermostat, it requires a common wire. So if you don't have an extra common wire like we've got here, you're gonna need to use the G wire as a common wire if you want to be able to use your Wyze thermostat. Now, the Wyze thermostat also does come with this common wire adapter, and I've tried it on a couple different HVAC systems, and this did not work. So I would recommend just bypassing that altogether unless you want to try it out, and maybe you'll have better luck than I did. But I tried it out on 3 different systems and it didn't work. So I don't know if it's just a bad part or if there's something else going on there. So I'm going to call Wyze and get a new one of those common wire adapters and maybe do a video in a later date. But if you don't have the common wire, all you're going to do is take your G wire, which is your fan wire right here, and you're going to move it down to the common wire terminal, which for us is the very next terminal right here. It's this C common wire 24 volt transformer. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to move it down one, and we're just going to loosen it up a little bit so we can fit it in with the other wires that are in that terminal, and then we're going to tighten it down. So now what we've got is we have our green wire on the common wire. We still have our white wire, this one right here. It's going to the W terminal. That's our call for heat. We've got our yellow wire. That's our call for air conditioning. That's on the Y terminal. And we've got our red wire, which is power wire, and that's connected down here at the R terminal. So this is that bundle of thermostat wires. Typically, you're going to be able to identify that bundle. Now, you might wonder, what are these other 2 wires and why are they in there? You want to leave these connected. Now, you could have these for an air conditioner compressor, or you might have them for a humidifier or dehumidifier. So what we've got connected here, this one right here, this is actually, it looks like our air conditioner compressor wiring. So this goes to the compressor outside, and that is the signal that helps turn that on when there's a call for air conditioning. Now, the other wires that we've got over here, this is actually a humidifier wire. So this humidifier will turn on when our heating is on in the winter. So we've got those 2 extra wires here and 2 extra wires here. It's important to note that you want to leave those where they are on the circuit board. And if they come off when you're trying to move that common wire around, go ahead and reinstall them where you have them. It's important to take a picture when you do this so that if you have any wiring that gets changed around, you can go back to that configuration. But you want to leave these 2 wires alone, leave them on the terminals that they were on, and then go ahead and get that G wire moved over to the C wire. So now that we've got this all wired up, what we need to do is go ahead and put the cover back on, because the cover will actually press down a little limit switch here. That's for your safety so that this is not energized while you're working on it. And then we're going to go up to the thermostat, complete whatever we've got to do there. And then once we've got that, we can turn the power back on. So we're going to go ahead and just reinstall the cover here. Let's just slide this in place. Now let's go back up and start working on the thermostat. Okay, now we've got everything wired up top. We've got everything wired up down below. We've got our Wyze thermostat. All we're going to do is go ahead and push it onto the mounts here and then secure it. Now that we've got the Wyze thermostat installed, we can go ahead and turn the power back on at our HVAC system or the circuit breaker. Go ahead and do that now, and then we're going to go ahead and get this connected to our phone and set up so we can control it wirelessly. All right, so we restored the power down at our HVAC system either by turning the switch on that controls your HVAC system or turning the circuit breaker back on. And you can see it powered up and we've got the Wyze logo here. You're on the right track. That's all it does once you power it up. You just see that Wyze logo, and then you're going to need to download the Wyze app, create an account, and now we're going to go ahead and get it set up on our phone. So once you've downloaded the Wyze app, all you're going to do is create a username and password and go ahead and log in, which we've already done. Now this is just the home screen on the Wyze app, and all we're going to do to add the Wyze thermostat to the app is go ahead and press in the upper left hand corner this plus button here, and then we're going to go ahead and select add a device down here. Now we've got a couple different options here. It says cameras, sensors, power and lighting, home and lifestyle. So let's go ahead. We're going to press home and see what we've got there. And our Wyze thermostat pops up down there at the bottom. So let's go ahead and make that selection. Now it's got a couple different things here. We're just going to go ahead and say begin preparation. We've already got it installed. We're going to click through these, begin, click next, click next. We've already done this stuff. We don't have a high voltage system, so I'm going to go ahead and click no. And then it says take a picture of your wiring. We already did that, so I'm going to go ahead and click skip. I'm going to click next here. Then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now we need to select the terminals that are connected. So in our case, what we had connected, we have an R wire connected, we have a W wire connected, we have a Y wire connected, and we have a C wire connected right there. We took our G wire and made it a C wire, and that's what we did up here at the thermostat, and we did it down at the HVAC system. So let's go ahead and we're going to click next. It says time to mount your thermostat. We've already done this, so just go ahead and click my heating cooling system is already off, and then we're going to click skip, and then we're going to click begin here. Now it's going to start looking for our Wyze thermostat. You want to make sure that you have Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi turned on here so that your Wyze thermostat can pair it. You really need to make sure you have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi turned on. Now all you need to do here is go ahead and select your network. So we're going to go ahead and click on our network and enter our password. Once we've got our password entered, go ahead and click connect. All right, now we can just give a name to our device. We're just going to call this one living room and click next. Now we're going to click next. Now we're going to click begin. Now it asks what type of fuel does our W1 wire use. We've got just a typical gas furnace, so we're going to click on that. It says what type of heat does it control. We've got a furnace forced air, so we go ahead and make that selection there. Now it says your Wyze is ready. Let's go ahead and click begin. Now you can choose the difference between balancing between savings or comfort. I want to save the most energy, so I'm going to put it all the way over here. It means that your temperatures might get a little bit hotter or cooler that are comfortable, but you can always change this in the future, or you could change your temperature set point, so I'm going to click next. It says here your recommended personal temps. We've got a home temperature, an away set point, and a sleep set point. So on the left here, we've got our heating set points. It means that our heat will turn on at 65, it'll turn on at 52 if we're away, and it will turn on at 63 at night. Over here on the right, we've got our air conditioner set points, and it's kind of the same thing for home, away, and sleep. We got another video that shows you how to use the Wyze thermostat, so go ahead and check that out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click save and next here. Those look good to me. I'm not going to create a schedule, but you could create a schedule here if you wanted. I'm going to skip past this because you can always create a schedule at another time. Now it might pop up with your location if you've got your GPS on, and you can just go ahead and save your location. I'm going to go ahead and click save here. Now it says head over to your HVAC system for testing. We're going to go ahead and skip this, but you could go ahead and test to make sure your HVAC system heating and cooling turns on. You can also do that just by turning the thermostat on. So I'm going to go ahead and click skip here. All right, so now our Wyze thermostat is all powered up and we can use it. In the app here, you can go ahead and click on controls and you can change it between auto, heat, and cool. Auto mode has both a heat set point and a cooling set point. The heat or cool modes just have heating or cooling, and off does nothing. It's just like having your HVAC system off. we're going to go ahead, let's go ahead and click this to heat over here, and then I'm going to go back, and now we've got a heat set point. You can see right now that the current temperature it's reading inside the house is 69 degrees and the current heat set point is 65. So we can turn this up or down. Now, if I were to go turn this up to, let's say 71 or 72, what's going to happen is it's going to turn on the heating system. You can see it turn on there, and now it's going to heat it to 71 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn that back down to a lower temperature. Let's just put it at 60 degrees because we really don't need heat right now. And that's just going to turn off the heating. So if I want to go back here, and if I want to turn it to air conditioning, I would just click on cool over here. Then I scroll down, and now we've got our cool set. It would turn on at 79, 78. And if I wanted to turn it on, I could just scroll down to 67, and that would put us down there, and it would start turning on the air conditioning. So let's go ahead. We'll set it to 65 for right now, and let's see if our air conditioning will turn on here. So give it a moment for it to update. And there we go. It says cooling is set to 65 degrees. It's got a safety delay of 2 minutes, and the reason it does that is it just doesn't want the furnace and air conditioner switching on and off and wearing out that system prematurely. So that's why it's got that safety delay. So if you want to change it from the actual thermostat itself, you can do so by just rotating this dial right here up or down. You can also change the settings here, and we can also go back. Let's click on this and go to current temp and HVAC mode over here, and we could just put this to off, or we could put it to heating. So let's put it back in heating because that's the mode that we're going to use, and we're just going to turn our heat down to like 63 degrees because we don't need it right now. So let's put the heat down, and we're just going to go ahead and leave it right there. So the temperature that you see is going to be the temperature that's currently registered in your house, and when you rotate the dial, what's going to happen is it's going to allow you to change that temperature to whatever you want. And if you turn it up, it's going to turn the heat on, and if you keep it down here, it's going to leave the heat down until you get to that temperature, and then your HVAC system will turn on. So thank you for watching this video on how to install a Wyze Smart Thermostat without a common wire or without a common wire adapter. Now, the Wyze Thermostat requires a common wire for installation. So you can do what we did here, where we used our G wire as the common wire instead of using it as a fan wire. Now, Wyze also has a common wire adapter. Now, I messed around with this for a long time and tried to get it to work, and I could not. But I'm going to ask Wyze for a new one of these common wire adapters, because what this is supposed to do is allow you to install this even if you don't have a common wire, and it will still maintain the independent fan control. But we couldn't get this to work, so we'll see if Wyze can send us a new one here to get this to work. But I recommend just going ahead and bypassing this if you don't want to waste your time seeing if yours will work or not work. Maybe that'll change in the future, and this will be a more reliable way to connect it. But if you don't have a common wire, you either need to run a new common wire. You could add a common wire transformer. We've got another video that kind of shows you how to do that. Or you could use your G wire as a common wire for your Wyze Thermostat. So thank you for watching this video on how to install the Wyze Thermostat. Please give us that thumbs up, subscribe, and click any of the links below if you want to support us. Thank you.